Now, this might sound a little bit crazy, but I'm planning for living to be 100 years old. Now, I'm not promising you that I'm going to make it to 100, but I'm making plans for it anyway. I heard somebody say one time it's better to shoot for the moon and miss than it is to shoot for the ceiling and hit it. And so I'm shooting for that. And what I'm going to share with you in this video are 4 goals that I found that can get me to the end of my life living well and finishing strong. So if you're interested, keep listening. It all started when I was thinking more about just my body and trying to think what I would do for an exercise program, because I really don't like to go to the gym. And so I figure out how I can exercise at home. At that point, I was looking at all these different things, thinking, what do I need to do to have my body in a shape to where it will last for decades to come and I can live well and strong until the end of my life. So I started thinking, well, one thing that I would need is strength. I want my body to be strong. So strength was one of them. And I thought, well, not only that, but a lot of times when people get older, they just get tired a lot. And so another thing that I would want to do is to make sure that whatever routine I have would give me energy, whether it's from exercise or diet or whatever. I need to know how I can live with energy. So that was strength and energy. And then I thought, well, that's not everything that I need, because also a lot of times when we age, we lose a lot of our mobility and our joints just don't move like they should. And so I thought, well, I want something that's going to help me to be flexible. So strong, energetic, and flexible. I got to thinking, well, another problem that people can have as they age is that they have accidents because they lose their sense of balance. And I know this is something that just with age is a natural thing that happens. So I thought, well, really, I need to have good balance. So 4 things I thought of. I want to be strong, I want to be energetic, I want to be flexible, and I want to be balanced. So I set out to look for ways to accomplish that. And I got to thinking about it, that those 4 things wouldn't just apply to my body, because you know that we aren't just bodies. We're a whole lot more than just being bodies. We have a body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit. And so I really got to thinking, how could those 4 goals apply to the rest of me, to my body, my soul, and my spirit? Now, the body is that which puts us in contact with our physical world, our physical senses and our movement, our ability to communicate. So that's all this physical realm. Your soul is what you can't see, but really your soul is your personality. It's the real you. A lot of people say, well, your soul is your mind, will, and emotions. And for me, that's a good place to start, but that really doesn't express what your soul is. Your soul is, it's your personality and your desires and your talents, your abilities, your passions. It's all of that all put together. So how could those 4 things also apply to my soul? Now, I got to thinking also about my spirit, because we aren't just body and soul, but we have a spirit also. And I won't go into great detail about it, but your spirit is basically that part of you that puts you in touch with the divine, with what we can't see, that's outside of ourself. It's not our soul, but it's beyond that. And so our spirit also is something that's important that we take care of in the same way. So thinking about that, let's take a look at the idea of being strong, being energetic, being flexible, and also being balanced. Now, physically, there are a lot of exercises you can do to be strong. You can work with weights. Just, we're not going to go into detail here about how to work out exactly, because you can find all of that. You can go to a gym and people will help you, but it's not just a matter of getting exercise. It's not how long you exercise at a time that matters, but it's the fact that you do it consistently every day, If you skip a day occasionally, that's okay. But it's just something you got to keep on doing. And there's a lot of things you can do to stay strong, but it means that you've got to build enough muscle to where you don't wear out so easily. And also, it has to do with how you eat. It's like putting fuel in. You need to eat the right foods in order to stay strong. And so, a healthy diet. And without going into all the detail, because we'll probably get into a lot more of that in other videos, but you do need to eat a lot of good, healthy protein, fruits and vegetables, and, like your mom always said, but eat the good stuff and leave out the bad stuff. Try to eat the things the way they were created, and leave out the processed junk. Sugar and stuff that's been highly processed. You don't need all that. So, yeah, get the right kind of exercise, eat well, and you can be strong. Now, that's strength for your body. What about being energetic? Well, just briefly, because I did make another video about being energetic, but to have energy, that's another thing that's important for your muscles. If you build muscle mass, your muscles actually help to be like storage for energy, like batteries, and they store energy in them that's released when you need it, when the muscle needs to be used. So building muscle mass is important. And I'm telling you this because when we age, it's something that naturally happens, that we lose a lot of our muscle mass. And so it takes a bit of an effort to build up some more and to make sure that we maintain it and we just don't get skinny and scrawny. And so that's something we need to put a little bit of effort into. But also having energy, it has to do with your diet also, and taking care of things like, even if you're not a diabetic, it's a good idea to eat wisely as far as your blood sugar, but to be energetic. That's important. Still talking about your body. Now, the next one would be the flexibility. And stretching is so important, and especially if you can do stretching at night, because your muscles are already warmed up from having been moving around all day. And so if you can do some stretching, some flexibility exercises, then that's just great. It can also help you sleep a lot better, which is also important. But flexibility, keep your muscles moving, keep your body limber. There are some things that you can avoid in your diet that can affect your joints too. Avoid things that are inflammatory. There are certain foods that are highly inflammatory, and it's pretty easy to find out what they are. Look it up online. You'll find lists of inflammatory foods and anti-inflammatory foods, and it's a little different for everybody how things actually affect you, so you'll have to try some things out. But when you figure out what you need to eat and don't need to eat, it will help your joints to have more flexibility. So there's your flexibility. Now the balance. Balance is important, and it's not really that hard to come by. I found some really good mobilization exercises and balance exercises. I'm going to recommend a channel that I've been watching for quite a while, and I receive a newsletter and everything from Dr. Ben Kim. He's a Canadian-Korean chiropractor, and he just explains things so well. And so I'm going to put a link down below in the description so you can find his channel. And it's so important to do these exercises for balance. At first, you're going to find that you're a bit wobbly, but you'll notice that later on, as you do these exercises, that you're just going to be able to stand on one foot, not be wobbly. Another thing that's wonderful for balance is walking. Just plain walking. Get outside and walk. You don't have to walk fast. Now you can if you want to, but you can walk at a decent pace, but just walk for a length of time. And every step that you take, your body is having to adjust and balance. And that practice of doing that, you'll be surprised at how it helps you to feel more balanced. And that can save you a lot of trouble down the line. So that's what we've got. In the body, we can be strong, we can be energetic, we can be flexible, and we can be balanced. Now, what about the soul? Can we apply those 4 goals to the soul also? What in my soul would need to be strong? Because you think of mind and will and emotions. I thought, well, a strong will, sometimes that sounds like a negative thing if you're being stubborn, but really having a strong will means that when you make a decision, you can stick with it. And when you know what your values are, you hold on to those values and you're not easily changed by other people's opinion. And to me, that's an important strength that we can have in our soul. But not only that, but a strong soul is one that you've established values in your life and you've looked into things to be able to know what you believe and why you believe it. And you can even explain how you feel about things to other people. And this is not just talking about like spiritual beliefs, but concepts in general. When you're convinced about something, there's a strength there. And when you have that strength in your soul, then you're able to communicate with other people and have a good influence on their lives. So we've got the strength and now the energy. What would soul energy be? Well, you'll probably think of other things too, but when I think of energy in my soul, I think about joy. Now, joy is a whole lot more than just happiness. It's called happiness because it's about what happens to you. It depends on your circumstances. And so happiness is something that kind of comes and goes according to what you're going through, but joy is different. Joy is deep-seated. When you focus on what is behind the scenes and you find reasons to be grateful. Now, gratitude is a great one to be able to bring joy up. And joy is, it's like that fountain that springs up when everything's going wrong, but there's still something in you that's giving you hope. And that's the joy. Now, when you can hold on to that, that will give you an energy that's going to get you through anything. So we've got strength and energy in our soul. What about flexibility? Well, when I think about that, I think about my emotions because I need to be able to manage my emotions in a way that I can be flexible according to situations. And if you can adapt easily to the things that are going on around you and be able to focus yourself emotionally in a way that works, in a way that adds to your situation, when you can look at things from somebody else's point of view, then you can have that flexibility of being able to understand where they're coming from. And this is so important in the relationships that we have. And I know that with the soul, you could take all of these areas and find a whole lot more. You're probably thinking of some stuff that I haven't thought of either, but it's just so much that you can dig into there. So we're strong, we're energetic, we're flexible. What about balance? Well, I think balance happens when you have enough emotional balance to where when things come up in your life and hit you in the face, you can take that without letting it knock you down. Now, things can really hurt us. And I understand that if you've gone through painful experiences, I know I have. My life has had a whole lot of bumps in the road. But if you've been through things and you've come through them with stability, that's the balance that we need to find. And none of these are things that we're going to have just automatically. These are things that we develop and we learn. And if we're just aware of them, that's the first step, because being aware of it, you can look for ways to get better. And so that balance comes from facing difficult situations, getting through them. And the next time you go through something, you can look back and say, I got through that other one. I can get through this one too, and I can do it with balance in my life. So your soul, you've got strength, you've got energy, you've got flexibility, you've got balance. And when it moves into the spiritual realm, also spiritual strength. And I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but I do believe in God, and I do believe that there's a strength there that is put into my life, because that is beyond me. And I know that I am not enough in myself to be able to be everything that I need to be in this life. And so I do trust, and the strength that we have comes from trusting. I do believe that we were created for a purpose. And when we can find that purpose and stick to that. We've got something to go with because it comes from outside of us, and that's what gives us the strength and also supplies us the energy that we need. Because when you know that something is guiding you, that someone is guiding you to do what you need to do to fulfill your purpose in life. And see, this is another reason that, like I was saying, that I know I've got a lot of life ahead of me. I know I haven't fulfilled completely my purpose for being on this earth. And so that's why I think it's my responsibility to do everything I can with myself, body, soul, and spirit, to be ready as long as I need to be on this earth to be able to fulfill my purpose. And when I know that comes from outside me, then that gives me the energy that I need to be able to go on. And so there's strength and there's energy, the flexibility that comes. Spiritually, I feel like I am undergirded with strength that holds me up and keeps me flexible and able to deal with things as they come. And also that just goes into the balance part. A lot of times you can just hear anybody sharing all kinds of stuff that sounds good, but when you have a balance, you can think about what you believe and compare that and make a good decision about, do I want to accept that, or is that not something that fits in? It is important to realize that we are body, soul, and spirit. It's really helped me to pull some things together and also to have hope, because really this kind of self-care is not a selfish thing. This kind of self-care is what we need to be able to be effective, not only to have a good life ourselves, but if we have people in our lives that we care about, then we're going to do it for them too. Now, if there's still YouTube when I turn 100, which is a little over 30 years from now, I'll make a special video, and if you're younger than me, then be watching for it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.